everyone. Once again, this is my Instagram live with CA Harshit Arora. He is a newly qualified chartered accountant and a member of our team here at MSB Vision, and I'm super excited to interview him and ask all your questions today. Hello again, everyone. Hi. We've restarted the session with Harshit. We will be asking him all questions related to CA finals and cracking it in the first attempt. So this video is dedicated to all our chartered accountancy students and community members. Hello everyone, I'm going to re-invite Harshit and we shall begin then. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. I'm good, Priyanka. How are you?
Hi, all again.
Hi again, Harshit.
Yes.
Okay. People are saying it's okay now.
Yeah.
I switched my Wi-Fi.
Everything's
Okay.
perfect now. Yeah.
Okay, great. So Harshit, I'm super excited to interview you today since you're a newly qualified chartered accountant. Firstly, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
such a big achievement so early in your career.
Yeah,
How does it
this
feel?
is something that I've been telling everyone around. It's really surreal. It's really it's an overwhelming feeling. Can't put it to words.
Oh, I'm so glad. Harshit, your mic is
Sure.
being covered with
I just
your scarf. If you can, Um, okay, so just a quick introduction from my end, and Harshit, please go ahead and introduce yourself afterwards. So basically, Harshit and I met about 2 years ago, and he's been working part-time with us at MSB Vision on weekends whenever he found the time to help us because he's also a CA student, so we connected on that journey because I'm also a chartered accountant, and just been working with Harshit has been a fantastic thing for me, and I
yes,
hope for you as
100%.
well, Harshit. It's been great working with you. And now that I've seen him go through that journey and I've seen him qualify and I've seen how much hard work and dedication he's put into getting this qualification, that was his childhood dream, is just so overwhelming for me as well
Mentor.
as his senior, as his mentor. So Harshit, I'm so excited and I'm so grateful that you're a part of our team and we get to talk and help other students here today. So over to you if you want to introduce
Really,
yourself.
likewise. All that you said, really, when you talk about this now after 2 years, it's just like everything comes in front of your eyes and you realize that it's been a long time. You're really grateful for all the opportunities that you get academically and also professionally with you, personally for me, with you, and then all the articleship journey and all those things. So yeah, that is a really big thing. All gratitude for that. Talking about myself, Abhi, I have recently qualified, as you said, and I have done my articleship. Like as some of you must not be knowing, who was not non-CAs, that we have to do a 3 years training in the chartered accountancy. We have 3 levels of examinations. Up to 2 levels, we have to do a 3 years training. I did it in my hometown here in Lucknow in a local firm. Then I went on to also do a 3-month stint at an Big Six firm, accounting firm, Grant Thornton, and then came back here, back to my home that we'll be talking about later in this chat. And yeah, I gave my examinations in November 2022 attempt. We have twice a year we have examinations in CA. So I gave it last year in November 22, and yes, by God's grace, I've cleared it. And yeah, here I am.
Yay, that's amazing. That's great, Harshit. Thank you for telling us about your journey, and we'll get into the detail for sure. But let's talk about chartered accountancy as a degree, right? It's not an easy degree to get through and get done with, and I've been on that struggle myself because I wasn't able to clear the CA final exams in the first attempt. And you and I talked about it so often. I told you, Harshit, don't make these mistakes that I made, and please make sure you crack in the first attempt. But going on that journey is not an easy one, and I want to just understand, like, where did that idea come from? Like, where did that spark come from to become a CA, do CA, and how did that journey begin for you?
Honestly, like during my formative years only, initially, like back in school, back in school in high school, my father always wanted to become a chartered accountant. This is something that my close ones already know, and I also want to share with all of you that my father wanted to become a chartered accountant. He couldn't due to certain reasons, and then I I started reading about it. I started realizing that this is something that I might like, and wanted to explore, because initially you just want to explore all the things, and I thought that why not this? So I explored that. I made decisions early in school, whether it was taking the commerce stream or whether it was sitting for the foundation exams and things like that. So all in all, firstly, it was my father's dream. And then slowly and gradually, I realized that, okay, this is something that I'm finding my peace in. This is something that I can see myself in 5 years or 6 years down the line. So initially, that idea came from there. And then I kept working for it, yes. And now I'm here.
Amazing, amazing. So, Papa ka sapna pura karna
Yeah,
tha.
yeah.
That was the dream, no? Amazing. That's so nice. And I think that's a very, I feel a lot of people who get into this
Yeah,
degree is because of, standing on their own 2 feet or proving something to the world and proving,
yeah,
making in their parents proud. So I'm guessing that's probably what they're feeling right now, full
yeah,
of
I hope
pride.
so. I really hope so.
Amazing, amazing. That's great. Okay, great. So then you knew that from school that you wanted to do CA. What happened then? How did it begin? Like what did you do? You said you took commerce, and then what about college and stuff? How did you manage all
So
of that?
when I thought about CA initially, at the school, so we just was just going with the flow and all those things. And then when actually got out of school, I did my research in terms of how I had to go about it, and read about it, asked a few friends who were like seniors, or asked like my father's friends or some people who were already into this fraternity and who had done it way earlier. So that was my part of the research and everything that I did. College, so I've got a pretty decent score in class 12th. I thought of getting into the Delhi University as at that time, and also now, like people who clear their 12th want to get into Delhi University, especially for BCom, for people like us who are into the commerce thing. So I thought of going there, but I took a back foot and realized that, okay, if I have to do CA, so I might as well get a distance degree, because in chartered accountancy we have an option of getting a distance degree from an open university, IGNOU, as of you all must be knowing. So I thought of getting with that because I wanted to focus more on the academics part, because it's really strenuous in this course. So I just
Yeah.
took a back foot and took up a distance degree. And I didn't go for regular college, which is something that I do regret, but I tried to settle it up with extracurricular activities as I did through my CA journey. So all of that, but hopefully someday getting that college experience.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. So, see, no journey is going to
Honestly,
be
yes.
perfect, right? There will always, we look back on our
ये कर
past and be
लेते.
like, I wish I could have
Exactly.
done that differently, yeah, ye kar lete. There's always going to be some type of regret. But I think in that moment, you felt that that was the best decision for my career. And, you were so laser focused that I want to do this degree. And this is my chance at finishing it earlier rather than going to college and then,
Exactly.
doing it afterwards, or moving to another city is also not easy. So that was a
Yeah,
big
it was.
decision, I'm sure.
It was
I'm
initially,
sure.
because everyone was doing at those earlier times. You also have a little, not little, a lot of peer pressure in terms of your friends are doing this. Everyone's having a gala college life. You're just into your room, because CA
Yeah.
in itself is a very isolating degree. And I talk about this a lot. And like my friends also relate, you would
I
also relate,
agree.
that it's very isolating, because you just have to sit in your room
It is.
in the corner studying, no social interaction for that matter, because there's no class kind of a structure. So, so that was something that
For
I did regret.
hours,
Yes, exactly,
hours
for
at a,
hours at a stretch.
yeah.
That is something that I did regret, but yes, uh, things had to make sense someday.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you won't look back on it now with regret because you were able to clear in the first attempt, right? So maybe that wouldn't have been possible if you went to
You
regular
never know.
college.
Yeah,
Like you never know with those things. Yeah. Amazing, amazing. And I can see other people in the comments saying they've also cleared. Bhavna,
congratulations,
congratulations on becoming
Bhavna.
CA. Amazing. On clearing CA. Very good, very good. Congratulations. Okay, so Harshit, let's move on to, you said a little bit
Mhm.
about articleship. And I think that's a very pressing question for students is that you said you worked at a smaller firm in Lucknow and then you also you worked at GT for a little bit. And I just wanted to understand, you've worked at both big and small firms. What was the difference that you think in terms of articleship? What would you recommend to somebody who is on this journey? And just from your own experience, what were the pros and
Um,
cons of
so
each?
Mehar, like when we think about articleship in this particular course, obviously we have two options here, that we want to do it from a big firm, as in like the big fours or some top 20 CA firms in India, or a smaller firm at your local place. Generally, what people would also suggest, and what happens is, and what was in my case also personally, was the fact that if my long-term goal is to, take up a job, work somewhere, work in a big company, then I should go for a big four or a bigger firm or something like that, because that adds a brand to your CV, right? And that brand is really important in terms of when you're going to take up the interviews after you're qualifying. It's actually going to work. If, on the other hand, if you want to do a practice, like, that's the good thing about CA, right? The moment you're qualified, you're self-employed. Your employability is assured for the rest of your life, because you can, and like a doctor, you can just sit, have an office, consult, give consulting advice, give certain, help people with their financial planning and things like that, and you will be self-employed from day one. So if that is your goal, I would suggest, like I and a lot of people in the fraternity would also suggest you that you take up an articleship in a smaller firm, where you are given the opportunity to learn a lot of things across departments, like tax, auditing, etc., etc. So that is something that I would suggest in terms of choosing a bigger firm or a smaller firm. But yes, bigger firms do help a lot. There are a lot of pros. When I worked in GT, I realized that obviously I did it for the brand also, but I also wanted to look and have a corporate exposure, because when we are in your articleship, generally for a general audience, we all are very young. We are in 20s or 21, 22, everyone. And at that time, we might not get that corporate exposure, but articleship helps you with that. You're not into a full-time job, but still you're able to get that corporate exposure. So that's a big thing. And when I was in GT, I realized that yes, there were certain set processes, there were certain big clients that I was working for, the brands that I would hear on an everyday basis. I was working for them. I was helping them with their financial decisions and things like that. So that is the pros of that particular, working in a big firm. But obviously depends upon your long-term goal, your long-term strategy as to where do you want to see yourself 7 years, 8 years down the line. Depends. That would affect your decision today in terms of choosing the articleship firm.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Harshit, I think what happens is that I talk to so many students, and they are also enamored by working, for working at one of these big companies. And then once they actually join, then sometimes it's not what they expected it to be. I have definitely been on that side, and I'm sure you have as well. But I think what happens is, in that moment, you have to self-reflect and understand, do I actually want this because of all the other reasons that you listed, or is it just something that I want to get off my bucket list of things to do, right? So it's very important to really self-reflect and understand, why is it that I want this job? Is it worth all the long hours, or they expect everything to be very perfect? So sometimes working at a big company may not be the decision for you. It can just vary person to person. So I was just saying, like, really do it for yourself. Don't do it because your friends are joining the big four, or other big companies. Do it because you want to do it, and it's something for yourself. But having said that, completely agree. Small companies also help you learn a lot across different areas. But yes, what I say is my experience at KPMG, working there for 5 years, it was tough in many ways, but I learned a lot. Like the learning, the perfection, the attention to detail, like you said, set processes, set systems, that way, and the exposure to like these top clients across the country, are big clients. So yeah, definitely agree with you there. That's amazing. And I think we are getting a lot of questions, but if you can just all wait, we will be spending last 10 minutes of the live to answer all your questions. For sure, we're not going to miss out on any questions. You can keep popping your questions.
Take a note of that.
But last 10 minutes we'll take. Harshit will answer all your questions. For sure. Okay, great. So Harshit, then let's talk about, once the articleship is done, or it's still going on, you go for your CA final exams. You go on leave for your CA final exams. How many months in advance did you start preparing for the CA final exams? And just if you could tell us a little bit about your routine and what you did to make sure you cracked it in the first attempt.
Like for my final exams, the moment I joined articleship, because when you join your articleship, you have an idea of when your attempt is going to fall 3 years, after 3 years. So, or 2.5 years basically. Now it's one changing. But so when I joined in 2020, I knew that my attempt is going to be November 2022. I joined in May 2020, I remember. So I knew that it was going to be November 22. So you need to plan your articleship in a way that you know you have a track of your leaves. Just remember, like, there's a video of yours also that we talk about the articleship tracker thing. So I made a point that I do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So talking about that, yeah. So you have to have a track of your leaves. You have to have a track of the things that you're learning. You have to have a track. For example, in a smaller firm, people would relate that you can't, you would want to learn everything. You would want to go into every team. But that is not possible
Yeah.
if you don't have a set plan for yourself. You have to decide that, okay, 3 months I have to learn this,
Mm.
4 months I have to learn this, in the next 6 months I'm going to be in this team and working on this assignment, things like that. So
Yeah.
I think initially when you start with your articleship, you have to have your 3 years at least in your head planned, and then accordingly take your leaves, accordingly plan your articleship in such a way so that you have at least, for me, I had 7 months of leave, which is not every, I know that that's not the average. An average would be around 4 to 5 months for both groups, which is 8 subjects, 4 to 5 months for both groups.
Mm.
But I planned my leaves in a way that I did not take much leaves, and I have around 7 months, because I know that how my academic, capability works. How am I going to take, how I'm going to take, a person would take maybe a week for studying a subject. I might take a 2 weeks, something like that. So you have to analyze and introspect as to how quick are you with your academics and how much time are you going to take. But a standard 5 months is important for like both groups, and a standard 3 months is important for single groups. I took 7 months of rigorous
Okay.
leave because I had not taken earlier leaves. So my principal also luckily agreed to giving me 7 months of leave. So I took leaves in April and studied until October, and then gave the exams in November. And so honestly, like getting to the frank part is that you cannot study all 7 months, right? So initial 2 months, I was
Yeah.
just trying to, broaden my horizons, doing some extracurricular activities, I was going for elocution, I was going to certain competitions here and there. So that, because in your articleship also you are all doing professional stuff. You're going to the office, you're being the corporate person, you're working on certain assignments, you're reporting to somebody. And the curricular exposure does not get to you, because that is also important at the end of the day. In your interview, in your communication, it is very important. You have to do certain extracurricular things, because they need to, like, they will brush you up. And now people are asking, like, all the employers want you to at least be good in communication at the end of the day. So I just made a point,
Yeah.
like in my
Yeah.
7 months of leaves, I just made it a point that I plan myself in a way that initial 2 months I am studying. I'm also doing certain stuff which is related to extracurriculars, or doing some debates, elocution here and there, see events. And but 5 months I dedicated myself rigorously. I did not do anything, I was just studying, because at the end of the day, it was important for me to clear the exams, and 5 months were minimum required for me to get through all the subjects. That is how I planned.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That's good. So 7 months of leave, उसमें से 2 months you
Exploring
were
opportunities,
doing
yeah,
extracurricular and exploring opportunities, and then five
rigorously
months you
sitting
were
down. Yeah,
dedicatedly studying for the exams. Fantastic, fantastic. That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Harshit. And yeah, it's important to plan your leaves and talk to your principal and get that
yeah,
conversation going earlier so that you don't have any problems
exactly.
taking leaves later. Right? Yeah, completely agree. And what you said about communication is so important, Harshit. And I think one of the reasons why I love working with you is that you are able to communicate what you want to say very professionally and very clearly. And many times, we have all these degrees, but our communication skills are not up to the mark. And like you said, you have to pay equal attention to soft skills and
Absolutely.
not just hard skills, right? It's about developing those along with, as you go on your articleship journey or as you're working. You have to keep pushing yourself to keep becoming better, and not just think of the theoretical work that you need to do. It's all about practically how you apply. Okay, let's before we take questions, I just want to ask one final question. Is that, we are going on this long journey of, let's say, 5 months of rigorous studies. There may have been days when you were demotivated. There may have been days when you felt low. There may have been days when you were very energetic, very motivated to, achieve everything. What was your routine like, and what did you do on such days of, high and low energy? How did you
So
deal
I
with
just
it?
start with the high energy days. So on high energy days, when I was really productive and I
Okay.
was really, you know, like for example, if I had completed my targets for the day, or I was taking a test and I scored well in it and things like that. So I would take a break that day. I, like, for example, I remember I was doing
Okay.
this. I studied for like 5 hours straight. I took a test and I scored pretty well in that. So that after like that evening from like I think 4 p.m. 4 p.m. in the afternoon to I think until the night I didn't study. I just took a break. So just wanted to say, like, if on your high
Yeah.
days when you're feeling productive and it's been a long time you've taken a break, you could just let yourself be. It's okay not to study for one day. It's okay. It's completely okay. Yeah, I know. When you are into that leave, it also happened with me. When you're into that leave and you're studying for that one, like wasting even an hour would get like build up so much guilt that you're not able to, get out of it. But initially, if you plan yourself, you do your week, and then one day you take a break and get to that cycle throughout those months of studying, I think that will come naturally to you that when you're taking a break, you don't feel guilty. So that is something that I would really suggest everyone. Um, on my
Very good.
days of low, because obviously that happens and that happens really a lot, because we talked about a CA being an isolating thing. So I would talk to a friend, maybe I would talk to, most importantly, you also need to have a study buddy, because CA being really alone, you need to have someone who's giving the attempt with you. So you can find someone who is giving the attempt. You could
Yeah.
just talk to them on a regular basis. Maybe, we had this teacher who would recommend us that you should have a study buddy, which can or who can also help you in revising. So, for example, you did one topic and you just call them up and they say that close the book and just recite it, like active recall. So things like that you could do on low
Yeah.
days. That okay, on low days you're not feeling like studying, you're not feeling like getting out of the bed. So maybe the things you've already studied, you could just call up a friend and say that okay, ask me certain questions. Then maybe you could feel motivated, you could feel scared. Okay, I'm not prepared in this, and you just sit down again. So things like that would help. And also
Yeah.
need to realize that I remember I say it everywhere now that a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, said to me that this is life. Like exams are happening in life. Life is not happening in the exams. So that really motivated me
Mm.
on in my journey.
Wow.
That life है उसमें exams आ गए हैं और life तो चलती रहेगी. But exams में life नहीं है. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Wow. I love that. I love that. Yeah, your studying, your work, your career is a part
Exactly.
of your life, right? Like it's
Exactly.
not the whole life. And sometimes we get confused and we take these failures and mishaps personally thinking that, oh my God, why is this happening to me? But it's actually just a part and parcel
Yeah.
of the journey.
You.
Oh wow. Wow, that's great. So just summing up what you said is that take breaks, which is important. Have an accountability study buddy. And talk to a friend, do something different. And when you feel low, yeah, just find somebody who can give you that motivation and make you
Yeah.
maybe feel scared, and then you'll come back
Yeah.
to that motivation level. Wonderful. Great. I think
Yeah.
we can take some
Yeah.
questions now,
100%.
Harshit. Are you okay with that? Okay, guys. Everybody who has questions for Harshit, please, if you have any CA related questions for Harshit, please send them through, and um, I will just scroll up and see if I missed anything. So there's one question, Harshit, that came in, which is how to manage education being a working professional. And you talked about articleship along with studying. Were you also studying in your days before your study leave began? If you can just give people tips on how you can manage with a full-time
Yeah,
job.
like that's like very pertinent in terms of when I was in my articleship, it was obviously very difficult. Initially, it was very difficult to manage the classes, and because we had 8 subjects, and we have to do the classes to complete them before our study leave begins. Because in the study leaves, you can't watch lectures. So what I would do is that I
Yeah,
maybe get up early some days because you need to understand that are you a late or you're a late sleeper? Like you have to understand that in retrospect. So I tried that I get up early. I at least complete a class before going to office. And there are obviously,
wow.
and in your articleship, all 3 years are not going to be all work. There are obviously like big four people also know and smaller people
Yeah,
also know there are deadline months and there are like slack months. So in your deadline months, I completely agree that it
yeah,
is not like you will not be able to complete your targets in terms of the classes that you're doing or the studies that you're doing. So those months are fine. It's
yeah,
just that you need to buck yourself up and push yourself to at least doing the bare minimum on those days. But on the days of slack, I think there are 4 to 5 months of rigorous slack. That there's no, there's work, but that's not much too strenuous. Maybe you can get back home at 6 p.m. only. So on those days, you can just complete the rest of the things that were left earlier. So the crux is that all days of your articleship, all days of your office or job, whatever you are in as a working professional, are not going to be same in terms of the rigorous routine and the calendar. On days you're not able to study, it's okay. On days when you have the time, it's complete.
Yeah, agreed. So when you can balance it along with your, easy work schedule, like you said, busy months versus easy months. So just balance it and find the time to study
Exactly.
at that time. Great. I think that was a great answer, Harshit. And I saw another question which was about somebody saying that they revised it 3 times the syllabus, but they didn't clear. So like, what is the strategy behind, doing the syllabus X number of times? How many times did you revise the syllabus? You also said
Yeah.
something about active recall, and that is also an important study
Yeah.
methodology, right? So how many times do you think there's a short number of times you should be revising the syllabus, or what could go wrong in spite of revising so many times?
See, like, obviously, there's not a short number in terms of how many times you need to revise and you'll clear it 100%. For me, what worked was that I made sure that my classes were complete before, and one or two, even if they were left, I was not like taking them too much into my study routine. Just complete them and then study for the rest of the day. So what worked for me is that I would firstly read the whole subject once, so that I'm complete with that in the first reading, and which can also be done, like which is recommended that you do it with your classes when you're actually watching the lectures and all those things. And then you do one revision of rigorous revision where you actually, for example, I'm just giving you an example of practical subjects, for example. In practical subjects, for example, in the whole subject, you have around 500 questions. So in the first revisions, you do all the 500 questions by hand, or try to do the maximum of
Yeah.
them by hand, and you actually at least have touched all of it. And in the second revision, and the first revision, you also make sure that you are actually marking the questions that you're having a problem in, or the topics that you're having a problem in. In the second revision, you at least cover those things. What worked for me was this strategy in terms of first revisions. I tried to cover maximum as I could. And in the second revisions, I tried to cover those parts which I was facing a problem in. And in the second revision, I would also cut down the percentage of the coverage that I'm going to do. In CA, you cannot do 100% because it's too much. The only thing, it's not
Mm.
tough. You could, like, I also tell this to my friends, like, there's the subject like SFM. So there's a sum, and it's not that difficult. You could just, like, if you know the concept, you'd solve it in a minute or so. But it's just that there's not just one single sum. There are going to be 10,000 sums like that. So the volume is the problem. So
Yeah.
to tackle the volume is that you need to realize, do the ABC study and all those things, like good amount of it. A plethora of resources are available on YouTube for free, which you can refer
Yeah.
and understand as to what is important and what is not important. And you, in your second division, you need to realize that you're going to spend time on the things that are going to actually be asked for and that are actually important. The thing that has not come. I
Mm.
know that trends don't work now in CA exams. Anything can come from anywhere, but at least 80% of the things would actually be asked from this topics that are important. But because that also works practically, right? A thing that is redundant in the industry
Yeah.
won't be asked because they want you to be future ready professionals, not past ready professionals. So, so that is something that I
Yeah.
would recommend, that in your first revisions, at least 2 revisions. I did 2 revisions. First revision, you cover everything. You need to have an idea of what the subject is. And the second revision, you try to cover the
Yeah.
things that you faced trouble in, and cut down on the things that you think are
Okay.
not important by doing, obviously, your research.
Great. So past year papers, practice test
Ah,
papers, revision test papers, those are the things that people should
exactly.
be doing
Yeah.
for
One more thing
practice
that
mode,
I
right?
wanted to add is that
Yeah.
after you have done with your second revision, whatever number of revisions that you are able to plan, depending upon how much time you get and how much you are able to dedicate in your 3 years of articleship, particularly talking about finance.
Yeah.
After doing those revisions, you also need to write at least a paper or two, so that you have that idea of how the examination atmosphere would work. Writing mocks is very important.
Wow.
I know that it is not a good, like, it is
Mm.
not a prevalent culture in CA, because there are mock test papers and things, but student, like, I was also not doing it earlier, but in CA finals, I made it a point that I do. So just make it a point that you do mocks,
Yeah.
because the syllabus is difficult when the question paper comes in. So you need to be, really prepared for that. Like, I know a lot of people who prepared so much but got panicked when they saw the question paper because maybe no writing practice. That's what it is.
That is so important, Harshit. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's, yeah, mock test papers, actually pretending to be in the
Yeah,
examination
stimulation.
hall, timing yourself. And yeah, it actually tunes your brain to think like that and work like that. And be fast enough
Exactly.
to finish the exam on time. And in fact, not just CA, I think any exams that you're giving, right? You should be doing mock test papers with that
Yeah.
3 hour timer. And yeah, CA, CS, CFA, even the GMAT exam is difficult. So I think, yeah, it's very important to do practice test papers.
100%.
I agree. And
100%.
actually
Yeah.
testing yourself. Amazing, amazing. Great. And what about, I got this question in the question Q&A that I had put in, and somebody asked, what is the difference between studying for the practical subjects versus the theoretical subjects? What was your strategy for both
Yeah.
of them? I think we should touch
So
on
for the
this.
practical subjects, as I actually told, that try to, because for CA particularly, the modules, the study material that the
Mm,
institute provides is gold. Honestly, gold, because everything's going to come from there only. Trust me, it's going to come from there only. And obviously, we have to
yeah.
have certain guidance in terms of the faculties that we're looking for in the classes that we are taking. But just do your audit before you do your audit before you take the class. Do your audit before you sit down for your 6 months of study, so that at the end of the day you don't get a surprise that, okay, this is not covered. This coaching material does not cover this study material that the institute provides. So first thing is,
Yeah.
stick to one material, stick to the ICA study material. And even if you're going on coaching material, you just realize that things are similar. Nothing is different and nothing is outside the box that you're studying, which is not going to turn up in the exams. So for practical subjects and theoretical subjects,
Mm,
both, um, firstly, stick to one study material, which is the institute study material. Second thing is, for practical subjects, you need to cover all questions of study material, and as well as other resources that are available on the website of the institute, nowhere else. On the institute, there are a lot of resources that are available. There are a lot of questions that are available from past year questions, revision test papers, etc., etc. So just even if you're obviously not doing it by hand because that's not practically possible, you at least have an idea and an eye on those topics. And you could even skip certain questions that are repetitive or something like that, but you at least have an idea. But sab dekh ke gaye ho, at least you have an eye over everything, because you never
yeah.
know where things come from. But this is a surety that they're going to come from the resources that are readily available already. Nothing's going to come out of the box. For theoretical, yeah.
Yeah.
For theoretical subjects, I would recommend is that uh, doing the similar strategy, whatever questions you can see in the resources, because there are lesser questions in theoretical topics, because of it's very subjective, right? But the major important
Mm,
thing is that
mm,
there are certain topics in auditing, for example. People struggle a lot in audit. So I also did it with this faculty, and it was really amazing when I did it. So it was like, there are certain topics that are going to cover 5 points or 6 points, right? So you need to make sure that those topics are 100% covered. For example, a question is going to turn up for 4 or 5 marks only. So it is easy for the examiner to frame a question to have
yeah.
4 points, right? Because everybody is finding the easy way out. So he'll always give you a thing that has 4 points or 5 points set, for example. So you could you could actually pay more attention on those topics and focus on keywords, because a lot of people who they're in theoretical subjects also, and I also initially would write in my own words. Writing in your own words is okay. You're like adults now, and we can all do that because that's the creative thing. But ensuring keywords in CA exams is very important, because that's the technicality of the subject. Yeah, that's the technicality. It's
Yeah.
not that subjective also that you could write anything. It has to have keywords. And also the thing that I
Mm.
told, active recall is very important for theoretical subjects. And the more you do math,
What do you mean by active recall?
active
Quickly, you
recall
can
would mean
just.
just like when whatever you have studied, you read once, you try to understand it. Obviously, your faculty or whichever teacher you took the classes from would help you understand that. After understanding, read it once again, then try to recall it by closing the book. Okay. And then after 4 days, you do
Mm,
it again, and after 7 days, you do that again. That timeline you can decide for yourself. There's no set timeline. There are certain people who say it's 7 days, 21 days, but I think that it depends upon how much your memory can retain. Everyone has a different bank of memory.
yeah,
Yeah.
very true.
So if you
Very
want to
true.
do it next
Yeah.
day, you could do it next day. If you want to do it after 4 days, to just test yourself in that pressure. Okay, 4 दिन बाद भी याद रहता है कि नहीं? So you could do that. But the most important thing is that you keep
Yeah.
doing it regularly, because it's a lot of the course is a lot. You just need to keep recalling. Don't write every time, but at least write certain times. You write a mock test paper, write the questions of that particular chapter that you're studying. But recalling is way more important uh, in terms of how
Then
to retain it in the
learning the
memory,
first.
basically.
Yeah, I agree. It's not about reading the text and just highlighting every important thing. It's about
Hmm.
testing yourself, closing the book and testing yourself, asking yourself questions, and then yeah, telling your maybe
Yeah.
parents to ask you
Have your
questions,
accountability buddy do that.
so that
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, amazing. Great. I saw another question which was very important, I feel. Any other skills that you think are required
Uh,
before clearing the CA
uh,
exams?
any other skills? So, so there are a lot of skills that you're going to learn through the CA course, which is the biggest of it is patience
Mm,
and resilience. Patience and
patient.
resilience, because
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that people who are clearing in the first attempt is just 11% or 10% of the whole thing. And the majority and the CA
Yeah.
course is known by the fact that it's going to be really tough. You might take an attempt or two, which is very natural. So the biggest skill that is required in this CA course is to have patience, have to have resilience, and the most important is to believe in yourself. At the end of the day, CA is also not the end of everything, right? You need to realize that the exam is not the end of
Mm,
everything. You're going to have opportunities. The economy is exploding. The world is exploding. There are a lot of opportunities that are there for people like us, young people. So the first thing is patience, resilience, having faith in yourself that you will do it, and हो जाएगा.
हो जाएगा.
और मतलब like not getting to that pessimistic outlook, but still getting to that realistic thing that even if it doesn't happen, you still have a lot on your plate, because CA teaches you so many things, whether it's like on the academic front or professional front, as to you're exposed to professionalism and corporate culture so earlier in your careers. That is the best thing that I like about CA.
Yeah.
That so much earlier, when our parents like were of this age, 21 or 22, they were not into this so much exposure they were getting, but we have got that opportunity. So I think that is the best thing, and we need to make a lot of use of that.
Yeah. That's lovely. That's lovely. I think you all also touched upon other things like time management, positivity, taking breaks. Like these are all the skills that one should,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
remember. But yeah, resilience
this is
and
very important.
self-belief
Yeah.
is so important. So important. So important. I don't see any other questions coming in live right now. That's why I'm taking questions from the stories that we have uploaded. So if you have questions, please keep them coming. Guys, we'll just spend another 10 minutes and then we'll end this live. I think one important question which I will pop here, Harshit, is what do you think is the most important quality needed to clear CA in the first attempt? And I would love to learn from you because I did not clear the CA finals in the first attempt. So what do you think is the most important
So
quality?
obviously I didn't think of it earlier, but but now when I'm
Yeah.
having this conversation, I'm actually trying to realize is that to clear in the first attempt, the most important thing is have things planned. I know that there are going to be unforeseen circumstances. You cannot do anything about it. But the first thing is that have things planned. Have your articleship planned. Have your studies planned. Have your classes planned. Have your leaves planned. Most importantly, exactly.
And then stick to
And
the
at the
plan.
end of the day, stick to the plan, because keep planning. Like when I got into when I cleared my CA foundations in the first level, I planned that 9 months I'm going to rigorously study for intermediate and then clear the intermediate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I got into my articleship, I had planned it 3 years down the line after take my finals. So when am I going to take the first class, second class, so on and so forth till the eighth. So
Very
to
true.
have things planned for the
Yeah.
first for clearing in the first attempt, the most important thing is have things planned, and obviously stick to the plan and keep yourself on. Obviously, this we talk about in our team meeting also here. That not only the plan, you also need to review it on a regular basis. It's okay. Like maybe you plan that a class
Yeah.
would get over in 2 months, but it didn't get over in 2 months. You need to review every week. You
Yeah.
need to review every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That okay, this is taking a little longer than expected. Do I need to extend the target, or no? I should not procrastinate and maybe
Mm,
complete it in 2 months by bucking up. So the most important thing, as I said, plan and stick to the plan.
love that. I'm quickly going to take another question now, which is how to ace an
Oh,
articleship interview. Since you've given both big four and smaller
yeah,
company interviews,
yeah,
big six, sorry. So if you can please tell us what was the trick to clear your interview, and I'll also share
yeah,
what went
yeah,
well
yeah.
for me as
So
well.
for my articleship interview, the thing is, I would say that what worked for me is that um, as much as you're doing the domain research, because obviously we're going to sit for a stat audit interview or a tax interview, you're 100% going to study for that. That goes without saying. And the basic question of tell me about yourself and general soft skill questions you're going to prepare. But most importantly, also prepare about the team that you're going to get into in terms of what the team structure would look like, what levels of hierarchy are you going to work into. And you could also do a little bit research about the company, the firm, and also a little bit research about the clients, that you could also give your own inputs. Because I remember I had an internal audit interview. I couldn't clear that. But something that I learned from there is that um, I just don't need to have theoretical knowledge about internal audit, but I could also maybe go on the YouTube video and see that how is internal audit actually conducted. So a person asked me that, for example, there is this company and you need to catch ghost employees. So employees that are actually on the payroll are actually getting the salary but are not on the payroll. Yeah, so how are you gonna catch that? And I didn't know anything about it because we're too young and I did not prepare that way. So to ace an articleship interview, basically you need to know what domain are you getting into and how the processes would work. And so many resources are available that can help you. YouTube could help you. You could read articles. You could read, institutes material on how to conduct audits and things like that. So I think for an articleship interview, this is something that is really important that we tend to ignore.
Yeah, and also it's not about knowing 10 on 10 all the answers. It's okay if you don't know one answer, right? I remember in my articleship interview at KPMG, the manager asked me a question. It was it was a technical round, and they asked me a question, and I did not know the answer to that question, and I very honestly said that I'm sorry that I don't know the answer, but I did know everything else. So it's okay to not know 10 on 10. I think a lot of people freak out after an interview. Oh my God, I didn't know the answer to one question. You just have to have the faith. Like you said, ho jayega, having that faith and
also one
determination is
more
important.
thing, that as you said that it's okay to not know 10 on 10. You're going to give an articleship interview. You are a student at the moment. They are not expecting you to know everything. They're not hiring for a manager or a senior manager or consultant. They're hiring for an article trainee at the end of the day. It's okay if you don't know anything. But the thing is that the things that you just need to put yourself out. You need to express very clearly. And that's going to help you.
Yeah, definitely agreed. There was one more question that I will take is that if I work 1 year in a mid-sized firm and later shift to a big four, does that work?
Yeah, 100%.
Does that work?
Yes, it would work. Yeah,
it's okay to do that. Right? Would you recommend that?
I would recommend that about if your long-term goal is sticking to a big four and doing a job later and having a brand. I would 100% recommend that because everything, as I said, depends upon your long-term goal. If you want to get into a big four just for the brand of it, just for the sake of it, your friends are going there, I don't think that helps you because it's not bad. It's just that after qualifying, it might backfire because a recruiter would also. I had a friend who did his articleship from Big Four, and then when he sat into the campus interview, they asked questions like this: that why did you get into a Big Four? Why would you want? Did you want to explore opportunities, or what was the exact reason? So there are certain things that can actually backfire you, or maybe just come to you after you're qualified. So you need to have your long-term strategy set. That okay, I'm joining a Big Four because I want to learn X, Y, Z. Yeah, but it's a good decision.
Yeah.
If you're sure it is the best decision if you can take, because there are a lot of people who are not able to crack the Big Fours immediately after clearing their exams. And 1 year down the line, you get that opportunity. Like that happened with me. I got the GT opportunity after 9 months of my articleship. So it can happen. It's very normal.
Yeah. Okay, great. I will take, should we take one more question, Harshit, and then end the live? Okay. I think this is a little bit of a general question, but Bhavna has asked us. She started working at a CPA firm 2 weeks back before the results came and I qualified now. Should I move to a Big Four or wait 2-3 months? Will I be able to get in then, considering right now there are a lot of vacancies? What do you suggest?
Just a second, I'll just read the question again.
She joined somewhere before she qualified and now she's qualified.
Move to the Big Four or wait around 2-3 months? I think you should, like, the first thing is that they should do the research in terms of how they want to pivot their careers. Joining a Big Four is obviously a very big opportunity, but I think like you should like if you started enjoying the work that you're doing, if you're already in that particular firm and you're doing certain things that are going to help you in your long-term career, I think you could stay back for a month or two, realize and get. If Big Four is not the end of the day, you could also get into some industrial, maybe a better consulting opportunity at maybe BCG or Bain, for example. So yeah, so I would just say that
Yeah.
wait 1 or 2 months, do your research just after qualifying. Don't take that decision in haste, and yeah, join a Big Four or something like that. What would you want to add, Mehar? I think,
Yeah, I think Bhavna, don't like Harshit is saying, you don't have to be in a rush to,
joining a Big Four.
switch jobs. But yeah, these openings at Big Fours may just be open for a little while, and they always
Yeah,
are recruiting on and off, right? So don't think that you will miss the boat and you'll miss the opportunity. It's not like you don't have any job, you are working somewhere. So if you're enjoying it, if you think you can work here long term, then stick on. If you're not enjoying it, then yes, of course, switch. Why not
yeah,
then? Yeah. Great. Amazing. Thank you everyone for all your questions. And Harshit, any final thoughts, any last amount of motivation you want to give to anybody who's stuck in this degree and not finding the motivation to
yeah.
keep
So
going?
what exactly I said that earlier also, but actually kept me going in these 5 months and also in all these 4 years that I was in this degree is that self-belief is very important. You need to you need to put this block, put this, solid thing in your head that you're going to make things work. Things might not work one day, things might
Hmm.
not work for a week, they might not work even for a month. But that's not the case. You're not going to be on a pause for all the time. You'll actually push the play button
Yeah.
and you'll be on the next step very quickly. So you just need to have a lot of self-belief, which is important for this degree. And yeah, a lot of opportunities will open up for you. It's just about the right mindset. And yeah, that really helps. That helped me. That helped me.
Yeah.
That
Don't take
helped me.
failure
And also
too harsh.
normalize
Yeah, definitely.
not having things figured out, as we also discussed. Normal. It's okay not having things figured out. You don't get the motivation to study one day. It's okay. It's just that you need to, at the end of the day, 2 hours later, 3 hours later, 4 hours later, you just need to put that little reminder in you. Okay, why am I doing this? What is my long-term goal? Why do I need to achieve this? Why do I need to do this for myself, for my family, or my friends, and things like that? Just need to put yourself a little reminder, but also don't take the pressure of, you know, putting yourself too much into it and uh, being being affected later.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Balance it out. Very important. Very important. Great, Harshit. So how can everybody connect with you if you want to make an
Oh,
announcement?
okay. So this is something that we've discussed. So um, obviously we are thinking of, as Mihar also does, one-on-one consulting sessions with students who really need help. So for CA students specifically, I am more than happy to help. We could book a session with me, and we will just declare it on our MS Vision page also, and we could chalk out a strategy together. We could just have a buddy to talk to in your CA journey. And
Help you
I'm
out.
really hoping that
Yeah.
helps all of you. And I'm really looking forward to talk soon.
Great, great. So if you guys need any one-on-one support with Harshit, he is a CA mentor now here with us at MSB Vision. So you can reach out to him. You can sign up for a one-to-one session with him, a quick session with him, and he can help you and guide you on how you can clear the CA final exams, how to plan your articleship, how to plan your leaves, all of that you need help with, how to study for practical versus theory subjects. So yeah, Harshit is here to
Yeah,
help you guys. So thank you everyone for joining us. And Harshit,
thank you.
congratulations once again. I'm so proud of you and I know you're going to do great things. And thank you for joining us
Thank you.
today and having a
Thank you,
conversation with
Meher.
us.
Really, really, really pumped up now because it's really motivating to have a conversation with you always. And thank you for being the mentor. Thank you for always supporting. And yes, onwards and upwards from now.
Uh, yes, yes, onwards and upwards. And thank you everyone who took out the time to join us today. Reach out to Harshit if you have any more queries and concerns. Thank
Bye.
you.
Good
Take care.
night. Good night
Bye
to people
bye.
in
Good
India.
evening. Bye. Good night.
Bye.